Hey everyone, Ian here, and as you can see in the background, I've acquired some Audi TT 8S Super Sport seats. So these look really awesome and I love these, and I jumped at the chance to get these because they're half leather and half Alcantara, so giving me that extra grip, especially when taking the TT 3.6 out on track. Now of course I'm going to fit them to the Audi TT 3.6, but it's not going to be a typical easy sort of plug and play fitment because someone has actually gone in and removed a whole bunch of wiring, some switchgear as well, which it looks like I'm going to have to rebuild. Okay, now because these are fully electric seats, you can see that there's a whole bunch of wiring in here and all of the motors. There is a bad motor there, as someone's put an X and bad there, so I'm going to need to replace that one, and luckily the person I bought it off has a replacement motor, so I'll go through replacing that. And this little contraption is really interesting because that is actually the pneumatic pump for pumping up the side bolsters, and you can see that's missing the wiring there, so I'm going to have to figure that out. You can see that has the line there to feed the side bladders. So when I flipped them over and saw those, I was like, yep, cool, I'm gonna get these seats. And the most interesting thing is, and this is where things are missing, is that I only have these 3 plugs. Now, for those of us who are familiar with the Audi electric seats, we know that there's always a red plug, which is the power plug, and then you've always got the yellow plug here, which is the airbags, and it looks like, I think I'm gonna have to change that one. It looks like it's gonna be a different shape on the Mark II. Don't know what that is, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. And green is always the heated seats, so that's really good that that's there. And yeah, so you can see that that kind of like goes up here. This side looks okay. It looks like everything's kind of present on that side of the loom, which is great. It's just this left side which is a little bit worrisome, because as you can see, these 2 plugs kind of don't go anywhere. They are not plugged in, and when I take this off, you can see that that switchgear is missing, and there's nothing connected to the seat controls there. So the seat moving forward and back on its rails, and the backrest going backwards and forwards, and then the tilt. There's no plug that goes there at all. You can see there's the plug section. That's where it should be, but there's nothing there. And I think this motor is also missing its connection too. So there's a little bit of homework for me to do before I can actually get these going, which is going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, good luck to me. So what I did do is I grabbed this seat loom, 2 of them, so there's the other one, from an Audi Q5, and I'm pretty sure that that red plug here is going to be the same shape as the one found in the TT, same with the airbags. I'm pretty sure that's the correct one, which is great. So I'm going to have to convert some of the plugs over. This one I'll probably extract from this loom and see how much of this I can use. When I was removing this, I was really excited because of course it had the plugs for the lumbar and the backrest and the seat. But when I look at the configuration on the 8S controls, the plugs are completely different. It looks like they've gone away with the 2 big plugs here, which is probably going to be the same setup on the TT8J, but on the 8S you can see, I've taken a photo of it, that they've consolidated, it looks like they've consolidated all of the plugs into one 12-pin plug, and the pins that are being used aren't these sort of bigger ones here. They're quite small. They look like they're the same size as the ones in the instrument cluster. So I'm definitely going to have to do some work to kind of adapt this. Might just have to start again maybe, and just use that, which is quite fun. But you know, I got this for a really good price, 2 of them, really good price, $22, which is great. And yeah, this was the the plug for the lumbar controls, that circle switchgear. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to rework that as well. But hopefully this loom from the Q5 should give me a good base to start from, and there's going to be a whole bunch of like fittings and stuff that'll be handy to be bringing it over into the 8J. So this motor looks pretty straight. Oh, hi buddy. Hello. Gonna come help. Okay, so this motor looks pretty straightforward. There's that Torx there. On the other side there's one in a similar spot, hard to see. And then there's that one there, which I think is gonna be just the 3 bolts that need to be removed to be able to change this around. So there's a spare part here, so it's gonna mount on there like that. Now, before I went too far into removing this motor and replacing it, I decided to give it a go with a spare battery I had lying around, and luckily I did, because it wasn't actually busted. Alright, so apparently it's not bad. I've just hooked up 2 wires there. I think it just runs off 12 volts, so it works. So I don't know why they've labeled it as bad, but it's not bad. Alright, so with that problem solved, let's have a look at the other switchgear that's missing, and this control here is the lumbar control, which is a special unit that's unique to the TT 8S seats. So this is the part number for it, and I'm going to have to figure these out wiring wise as well. Now for this lumbar switch, lumbar and the air side bolsters switch, they go into that section there, so they've got some fasteners, and I've sort of test fitted it, and the way it goes is the plug section points sort of up, and it'll fasten onto these little tabs there that are sticking out from that switch housing, and it just kind of presses in, which is really different to the rest of the lumbar switches, which bolt in or screw in. These ones go like that, and you can see that kind of like locks it into place there. Okay, so the trim piece and that piece, what goes first? Probably the trim and that. Okay, might spray that silver. The switches that I've got on here are the wrong ones, and you'll see when I take them off. I'm going to replace them with these, which have 2 big plugs on the side. To take them off, there are 3 Torx screws there in the back. I've already removed them, little like T20s, just like that. And you'll just have to pop the handles off. Just with a pry tool, they pop off like that to be able to remove the panel. Okay, so you can see the differences here. Mounting points, I think, they're pretty much the same. Yep, they're the same mounting points, but one has a little plug and the other one has 2 big plugs. And this one here is apparently for memory seats, which this doesn't have the memory module in it, so it looks like someone swapped them around. So I'm just going to pop these in, and that should then let me power the forward, backwards, up and down knee tilt movement. Alright, now the switchgear is all on, which is great. I'm gonna flip this onto its back so I can get to the wiring, and then install the power loom, which is the red plug. So this is the 10-pin red plug, where we only really need pins number 4 and 5. They don't need to be moved, but they are the power and ground. This is the whole loom untouched from the Q5, and then I've just extracted what I need, which is the red loom and then the airbag loom to then chop and splice in. And I just needed to go in and retrofit everything into the Super Sport seats. So I just needed to kind of figure out where everything went, and then I tied everything together with little zip ties. So the airbag plugs on the Super Sport seats are incompatible. They're the newer style of plug, and so won't fit into the plug at the TT8J end. So you do need to convert them over. Luckily, all you need to do is match the wire colors and just splice them in. Alright, so there we go. We've got all 4 plugs sorted out. I don't think this one will be used in the TT8J because that looks like it goes to the seat occupancy sensor. I'm pretty sure we don't have those. And then it goes to this sensor here, which I have no idea what it does, but that's just there anyway. There's the power one, there's the seat heating, and then the converted airbag plug there as well. So the way I've put that red one, I've just put it through that conduit, which is now going to be the same as the Mark II. And I do have to convert over the motor plugs here. You can see these 2 thick wires. They'll go into this motor here, but obviously that plug is wrong. So I'm going to have to unpin that and switch them around. This is the lumbar plug, and that should be going in there, but obviously again that's different, so I'm going to have to repin those. And then you've got 2 other motor plugs. There's one here and another one that I've just snuck in back there to go to this motor here. So again, yes, they need repinning. And then there's the air pump plug here as well, which lucky enough from the loom that I got, the plug for the little under the seat light is the same plug as this motor. So what I've done is I've unpicked that light for the seat. You would usually be here at the red plug. I've unpicked it from that red plug, and I've just got it really loose here, which will then go into, I'm assuming, some of the pins at the lumbar control there, which also has that little toggle to do the side bolsters. So really lucky to have that there, but I'm still waiting on the rest of the pieces to come in order to connect up like that. There's some connections here that go somewhere, so I need to get the male end plugs for those plugs there. But yeah, so far so good. So because I want to get the heated seats working, I'm going to have to pull this guy and check out the wiring behind it. And luckily enough, when I did buy this, I asked for the pigtails to be attached to the plugs, so they should have the beginnings of the wires that I need to be able to hook everything up successfully. So let me get this out. There we go, and with a firm yank of that tool, the HVAC unit does come out, which is great. And then we can see the plugs behind here. And yep, I've got all the main plugs, and I think the plugs that I want to look at are these black and the yellow ones where I've got some extra wires hanging out. They're going to hook up into the heated seat wiring. The green plug and possibly the red plug might need to splice into here somehow as well. Okay, this is fun. It looks like past me had done my homework because I've got some labels on these wires. So this black 3-pin plug, they've got some pretty thick wires on them. It looks like they are the ones to help power the heated function on the HVAC unit and then send the 12 volts to either side. So I've got this one marked as going to fuse panel number 9, so that's going to go here. And then the other 2 wires, one's for the driver's side, so I've got it labeled there, T6E, pin number 4, and one for the passenger side, T6D, number 4, and they're the ones that will go into the green plug. So I've got to extend those out to either side. So that's one side of the picture, and then I think these help to control the temperature, I think. So they are already pinned into the correct part, into the correct slot. in the little light brown plug. One I've got labeled as passenger side T6D pin number 2, and the other side I've got driver's T6E pin number 2. So again, pretty sure they'd connect up to that green plug in the floor, which then connects into the green plug at the seats. Cool, so now I just have to extend all of those and bring whatever else I need to bring into that wiring according to the wiring diagrams. Before I start removing the seats, just say hi to my little furry friends, and then I start to remove the Audi TT 8J S-Line power seats. Now the good thing here is that the red plug is already wired in on the car end, so it's just wiring in the green plug for the heated seats. Strip the interior to make way for the wiring. So I'm almost done with wiring the green plugs in, and the parts that you need to pay attention to are this 16-pin brown plug. Looks like it's tan to me, but it's called brown in the wiring diagrams. Then there's another 16-pin one, but it's this big black one, and there's a brown and white wire there, which is a ground for the unit. And finally, the plug that gives power to the heating elements is this big black one with 3 pins in it. And they're going to be the last 2 that I've got here. So black and yellow. This is from the plugs, the green plugs here. Black and yellow is to the driver's side. Black and green is to the passenger side heating element. And then there is red and blue, which is going to be power, and that needs to go all the way into the fuse box in the engine bay. The heater controls unit is back in. You can see the heated seat controls are there. Now it's just getting the power from that to power up the heated seats. And so I've got the blue and red cable here. Sorry, red with blue stripe is the correct way to refer to it. And what I'm going to do now is that needs to run into the engine bay fuse box. So it's too hard to get that cable to go through the factory firewall tunnel. So I have used the tray in here and cut some holes in it and got some grommets to then run some wires, and I'll run that single red and blue wire through that. Then it'll go across that way, come down through this little panel, and then down and under and into this fuse box, where we want to have it hook into, I think it's going to be this one here. I'll have to double check that and confirm, and it's number 9 in there. So I'll have to create a new little pin thing, get the wiring to come up. You can see that's where they come up from the bottom, and then yeah, I think either there or there, one of those, to then have the fuse for the heated seats. Now I'm just removing the wiper motor assembly as well, so then I've got a nice and clear path for the wiring to run through. And you can see this is that plastic panel here. It's just a cover on the right hand drive cars. I don't know, it'll be the airbox filter thingy on left hand drive TT. But you can see these are the grommets here that I've used. I've pulled them from the taillights. They've got similar grommets to the taillights, and they make a nice little seal for any aftermarket wiring that you want to do. And you can see that I've run, some extra wires there, and I have the chance to clean up the little drain plugs down here as well. You can see there's a whole bunch of stuff gathering in it, so I'll take the time to clean that up here today too. Great, so I've removed the wiper motor, and it just needs to be moved out of the way. You don't need to unplug that, and cleaned up the area before opening up into the cabin. So there are these 3 little 10mm bolts, nuts there, and there, that can be opened up, and then that leads into the inside. So that'll just help me see where to feed that red and blue wire up to, and then I can get it into these grommets here. So just moving into the cabin, you'll see be some light coming through. It just makes it really easy to tell where we need to go. Hold on, so you can see some light coming through there. So that's kind of where we need to go. It's gonna, no, the CECM's blocking the way, but I'll know where to go now. Great, so now that is coming through, I'll just pull a little bit in and I'll strip this back to be able to feed the red and blue wire in and through to where it needs to run. So to help pull that wire through, I've popped the grommet out so it comes out from behind, and I'm using the tool that's actually used to pull the heater controls unit out from the dash, and I've put it in through the exit of that grommet, and I'll use that little hook there that you can see to hook the cable around it and then pull it through. Now, if you're wondering what is this engine doing in the Mark II TT, it's because I have swapped a 3.6 BWS from an R36 in here, and if you want to see the videos of that, I do have a 3-part series where I've swapped the I think in the first video it's the front end, so the bumpers and the radiators over from the 2-litre, because this used to be a front-wheel drive BWA engine. The second of the series is I think removing that 2-litre engine, and then the third in the series is installing the 3.6 and getting it all wired up. So it's not overly detailed because I was still a baby at YouTube and creating videos, but it'll give you a good idea of how I got here. You can see I have the cable, red and blue, up through that grommet down the bottom here, and what you need to do is just like lift all this up. Sorry, bad camera angle. Lift all of this up, release the grommet from down the bottom, and then it's easier to feed your wire through. And I kind of did it by sticking a screwdriver in, and that makes like a straight path for the wire to go up and in through that rubber. And then here it is. And it goes here just under the 25, and what you'll need to do is open this up to gain access to the panel beneath. So this just clips off, and then I'll be able to create the little fuse tap by using one of the ends. I've got some ends in a got some ends new from online, and just need to crimp it on, and then we'll be able to install the fuse. So there we go, you can see that swings open. It should come off as well, but I'll just leave that open. There's a pink clip there that needs to be moved into the unlock position, and then you'll be able to insert the fuse end in. To unlock that little pink clip, just get a screwdriver, or I'm just using a pick here, and it just will go that way, and that's it. That means it's unlocked, and you can insert or de-pin those fuse ends. Okay, so there's the new fuse end that I've just pinned up. Then that will go into that slot just under 25, which is slot number 9. Alrighty, so you can see that slot now has a pin in it on the left hand side. You can see that it's got the metal contact just above 25, that's still empty. So that's all good to go, and that needs a 25 amp fuse in there to give power to the heated seats. Now, to help me seal up this grommet, I'm going to use some liquid electrical tape, and you can see that I've done it there before I wrap it up in the Tessa tape. And this time I'll be using the proper engine bay stuff, which is like this and not this sort of fabricy stuff. I probably didn't have the correct stuff when I did the swap, but I do have this engine bay style Tessa tape now, so I'll use that to wrap up these ends. So with the heated seats wiring complete, it's time to install the TT's Mark III Super Sport seats. So they're a little bit lighter, so it's a little bit easier to get them in, and they're going to look really, really good. Now, when it comes to the wiring, I'm just going to link you guys to some posts on the TT forum because it's got everything you need there information-wise. Because I don't have everything wired up, I can only really plug in the airbag, plug, which way, that way, and then the power loom. This one. Cool, that will do for now. And then let's see if this will slot into the mounting holes. All right, so to answer the question, do they just slot in? They do, which is great. So you can already see I've not done any of the bolt holes, but that lines up. The locating pin for that lines up nicely. It seems like it's lined up on the front here as well, but I don't have power. I don't have power here yet, so I'm gonna have to just review the wiring to make sure it's correct, but at least we know the MK3 TT Super Sport seats are Ultium, which is pretty cool. Now these smaller buttons, I need to wait for the plugs that fit, but that's how they press, nice and straightforward. The toggle on the outside will actually go here, and I was playing with it before. You can see that it has like a little bit of movement from side to side. I don't know if you can see that. And you can hear it clicking, so the side to side movement gives you that toggle action for pumping up the side bolsters here. We have movement. I just got everything a little bit backwards because pushing this back, it moves forward. Pushing this forward, it moves back. So I've just got to reverse those terminals. But you can see it's moving along quite nicely. Might need some lubrication actually, but there we go. So that I've got the down and up, right? And there's tilt, which is great. So I'm just going to put that down, 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 down. Move this, whoops, wrong way, back, which is forward for the time being, so that we can see the bolt holes and whether or not they line up. And similar to the 8J, there are these lovely little covers there. That should be enough. Cool. So let me take that off and let's have a look-see. Yep, look at that. Perfectly lined up. Fantastic. And because that's lined up, let's put this back even more by pressing forward. We should be able to see the other side as well. Yep, you can see. Let me just zoom that in. There it is, lined up perfectly. Amazing, really good. Now to fix the reverse switches, what I'm gonna do is just change the wires around here, which controls, I'm pretty sure that controls the backrest, and then also the wiring underneath. But everything works properly now, which is good. So movement that way, and this is using the Q5 loom, which is mostly similar. And then the butt tilt up, down, and the height down. Oops, just down. Don't need to tilt. Put that all the way up to unbolt it, and then backrest. Amazing. All right, now that everything is wired up on the passenger side anyway, I'm gonna see if this will actually work. So what I'll do is I'll just gun the bum area here. Nope, don't turn off. On, please. 1 second. Okay, so we can see that's 20 degrees. Everything's on. And what I'm going to do is just turn that up. Hopefully this will work. I don't know if it's dependent on the car being on or whatever, but let's see. Before I get too far, I'm going to do some diagnostics. So let's just check to see what's going on here. The engine, I know I had some codes because I started the car without the MAF connected, so I've cleared those. Let's go back. Auto HVAC, read faults. All right, fresh air blower, probably because I disconnected everything. Temperature sensor for heated seat left front, open short circuit. Same thing for the right front, high pressure sensor. Oh, that's because my aircon's effed. I do need to get it regassed. Engine control module, probably because I removed it. So I'll just clear that, see what comes back. That's a lie. We know that there's going to be things coming. Here we go. Fresh air blower, that's weird. Great, so temperature sensor for heated seat right front is on because there is no seat here, obviously. That still needs to be installed, so that makes a lot of sense. So that's good. It means that that can now see the... Ooh, okay, that's actually working now that the car is on. Amazing! Let me get the... Where's my little thermometer? Here it is. So thermometer. So I've just left that on high. This is good because the weather has started to cool down a little bit. No more summer temperatures. Hopefully we get the last little bits of it, but let's check this out here now. 32. Amazing. So that's definitely working. Back pad. Hold on. 28. Yep. So that's on. So with the heated seats and electric motors all confirmed to be working, here's just a photo of the setup of the 4 plugs, and you can see that there's a brown and then a green and yellow wire just kind of loose. So they are for the seat belt monitoring signal. I just need to repin them into another black plug, but here's how the seats look in the Audi TT Mark II. You can see that the TT Super Sport seats really fit the interior nicely. One of the best things is that they are truly bolt-on, and then you just have to do some wiring work. It's not too hard to get them working. So enjoy, and hope that helps you install these if that's the way you're looking. If you enjoyed that video and found it helpful, make sure you like and subscribe because there's more of this stuff coming through. Thanks.